Guys, I'm not here to be politically correct. I'm here to share the truth and share with you guys what's about to happen with AI in the music business. So if you guys didn't hear, 2 days ago, Google just changed their entire search, okay, which I warned you guys about. It says a new era for AI search. We're bringing our advanced model capabilities to search with new AI features, enabling you to use agents just by asking a question. We're also introducing a new intelligent AI-powered search box, marking its biggest upgrade in over 25 years. Now, for those who follow this podcast, you understand I've been trying to warn you guys for months now, probably years. And here's the conundrum is when you go to Google, initially, you type in how to make an FL Studio type beat. Okay, then what pops up usually is either a YouTube video or a website with videos on it. Google said, okay, this is a very inefficient way for people to find an answer, which is true because you have to deal with people who just keyword stuff, try to trick the SEO machines and all this type of stuff and all this fake social proof with backlinks. So they said, okay, to get around this, what we're going to do is create an AI system that instead of people getting junk when they search Google, because that was the biggest frustration people had with Google is when AI came out, like ChatGPT, people are like, why? I'm getting the exact answer I want with ChatGPT. Why is Google not like it used to be? Because people were gaming the Google search system. And Google said, okay, what's our answer for people gaming the Google search system? They rolled out a ton of updates to try to get rid of these SEO hackers. But long story short, now they introduced their own AI. So when you type in how to make an FL Studio type beat, it doesn't just give you a YouTube video. It doesn't just give you somebody's website. It gives you the ingredients, step 1, step 2, step 3 on how to actually, do whatever it is you're looking to do. And they may even insert little clips of a video. Okay, so it gets straight to the point. So Google has become an all-in-one answer machine. It's no longer you search Google and that finds somebody else's answer. Now you search Google and it answers it for you without ever going to somebody else's website. And this is what most people can't comprehend about the new change we're about to have. So let me keep this short. Where we used to be, in the beginning, where we used to be is the attention economy. It went from the information economy where, John had more information than Bob and Bob had different information than John and Travis had more information. So information was valuable because there was no one place where information was stored in a universal box of information. Now that everybody's contributed to the internet and given all the information, what else can we really learn from the internet? I mean, we pretty much have everything we need to know on the internet currently without speaking about innovations and novelties. So that's why novelties are rewarded on YouTube, on Google, because that's what they don't have. Okay, they have a ton of information. Everybody's saying the same thing. So long story short, we went from the information age over to the attention economy. The attention economy was all about like, hey, we have this whole box of information. We don't need new information, or we don't need old information regurgitated. We need new ways of doing things, new hooks, new angles. And that's where you see Gary Vee talk about his hook approach in his book, Day Trading Attention. That's because we were in the attention economy, and the asset or the goal of that economy was, hey, do some outlandish antic, get somebody's attention. Use psychological hooks, get somebody's attention. Use TikTok and do some dance to get somebody's attention, even if it didn't directly correlate with what you were doing. Okay, so that was the attention economy, and we saw the negative side of the attention economy, which is a lot of people doing antics, and that's what most music producers and artists didn't want to do. Now, you guys complain, I don't want to have to make content and, make a beat next to a bridge to get views. Okay, well, now we're out of the antics era, okay, which most people associate attention with antics. That's not necessarily what attention means, but let's just associate that with antics. So now you guys, you complained the whole era. Okay, now we're in an era called the agentic era. And the agentic era, this is something that people cannot comprehend because they're not nose deep in AI. And there's levels to this AI thing. I'm nowhere near the middle or the top levels of understanding AI. Okay, I'm way at the bottom. And if I'm way at the bottom in my understanding with AI, then that means if what I'm saying sounds foreign, then you really need to take the time and just learn, okay? Because there's no excuse anymore. There's free accounts on ChatGPT, free accounts on Claude, free access to Perplexity, free access to Google Gemini. There's no more, using the excuse of ignorance. It's just literally people are too lazy or they're too against AI. So long story short, the agentic era, this is also called the zero search era. And what that means is instead of people going to Google to type in how to make an FL Studio type beat, their agentic AI will already on their behalf do something for them. So for example, you won't be on a browser necessarily. You might type into Codex. For those who don't know what Codex, this is an app where you basically download it to your computer and you can use ChatGPT and different agentic features to code or do whatever it is on your computer. You can actually have the the LLM do stuff on your behalf. Okay, that's something that people aren't used to. When they hear AI, they usually think chatbot, where you talk to it and it gives an answer. Well, imagine AI where you say, hey, you give it a folder of WAV files and you say, convert these to FLAC. It will do it. Imagine you record a bunch of stuff and it has a bunch of silence in it. You give them, 300 files of raw samples and you say, trim out all the silence. It will do it for you. That's the part that nobody has seen yet. And I tried to illustrate this over and over and over to show you guys the utility. There's so much utility in these AI agents. Every time I see somebody reject it or not use it, I'm going, why would you want to do this by hand? Like, there's too much utility here. Okay, this is not speculation. This is not the bubble bursting. When people talk about the AI bubble, firstly, let me just get this out the way. When people talk about the AI bubble, they're not talking about the technology. They're talking about the stocks. So a lot of people are confusing the AI bubble terminology, the stock prices, with the actual utility. Now, Web3 had an actual utility issue. Nobody really knew what the purpose of Web3 was. Bitcoin, it's like, how do you use Bitcoin? It's like, now we understand Bitcoin, but we're talking about, Solana, Ethereum. It's like people were building all these dApps and different decentralized apps on the virtual machine and everything, but it's like, where's the utility? Nobody was going to Decentraland. Nobody was really going to Sandbox and CryptoVoxel. So we thought we were going to move into this meta world, because when you were in lockdown, we thought everybody's going to be at home. So we have a natural inclination to explore as humans. And the metaverse offered that exploration itch, the same way we buy video games. Grand Theft Auto, for example, the reason it's going to be the #1 game in the history is because it's a free world. Okay, we could do whatever we want in the game. Okay, and live out we could do LARPs. Okay, in the game and explore. That's what makes Grand Theft Auto so huge of a franchise. It's not this linear story. You can literally take the story this way, that way, this way, that anywhere. Okay. And doing that, they understood that looking at video games, people want to do the same thing. Not everybody has an Xbox. Not everybody plays PlayStation. Okay. But they still want to have that experience of exploring. So that's where the metaverse and the goggles and the virtual reality came into play, and, augmented reality, because that is their version of exploring through a video game, just using it in real life, if that makes sense. So that just never came to fruition because we got out of lockdown, thank goodness. And people were just like, why would I ever want to go back inside? They wanted to really cherish the fact that we could walk around freely. So that, I don't think Mark Zuckerberg was wrong in thinking that we were moving that direction, because if we were to continue to have to be inside, we would definitely have that urge to explore. So I think he made a good call to try to at least solve for that. But moving forward, that, when people say it was a bubble, it's because we just didn't have a lockdown. Why would you want people to be on lockdown? Okay. So anyway, that's where the NFTs and all this stuff kind of crashed, because now where's the utility for a lot of the things that were built? There's no utility. People don't want to put goggles on every day in their house when they could just walk outside. Okay. So maybe that will change. Maybe, I don't know. Okay. But now we found a new technology. We moved from Web3, which I still think we're going to go back to blockchain for verification and security and all this stuff. But long story short, we're moving forward into AI. Okay, so AI is different because AI is not a speculative thing. If you can use ChatGPT, if you can use Claude. I've built real products with Claude. I've shown you guys the dashboard. I've shown you guys the plugins we built. I've shown you guys, what else do we even use with Claude? Let me think. I've shown you guys just the thinking it helped me do. Okay, the mapping, all types of planning, research, you guys name it. And that's the utility of AI. Web3 never really had a utility unless you were really in the trenches and you knew exactly how to do smart contracts and all this type of stuff. That is so confusing. It just required too much of a jump to even get into Web3. So I'm saying all this to say, guys, the reason people keep saying bubble, bubble, bubble is because they're talking about speculation. And you have to understand that in stocks, you have actual value, which is like cash flows and, profit. And then you have speculation on a stock, which is, I'm going to bet on Tesla just because it's Elon Musk, not because they're bringing in this much revenue and this is where they're headed, 5% here, 5% there. No, they're just saying, I like Elon Musk, let me buy Tesla. There's no thought behind it. That's called speculation, is when you're just buying something based on no facts, no history, no research, and you're just saying, I think it's going to go up. That's basically gambling. And that's what people are talking about when they say the bubble is bursting. So it's not about the technology. You guys may even hear stories about data centers. You guys understand we've had data centers before. Like, this is not when data centers were invented. I just hope people understand that we've had data centers before. Okay. And long story short, without going too deep into the rabbit hole, Let's just put it this way. The bubble is stocks. Okay. When people say the bubble, the technology is doing a curve that you've never seen in your life. Okay. So for example, most technology goes up, comes down, goes up, and kind of does a hockey stick like this. And it just kind of flattens out. AI goes up, it goes up, and then it just goes it goes so vertical. They call this the singularity, because now AI, once people can figure out how AI can improve itself, it can do that faster than humans. Humans become the bottleneck of the progress of AI. So think about my lifetime, for example, guys. I was born in the 90s, early 90s. Okay. And I've seen everything from a rotary phone, which is the little phone that you pick up. It has a cord and then you got to go like 1, 2, 3. You got to like spin it to do the number. At my grandmother's house, she had a rotary phone. And then I saw the era where I didn't see necessarily the 80s where they had cell phone brick phones like that. I never saw that. But I did see the early versions of cell phones. I didn't see beepers, but I saw, flip phones. I saw the little phones that it was just a block, like a little tiny block, Nokia era. Okay. I saw when smartphones came out, the BlackBerry, then the iPhone became popular. Then, I saw the internet transform from MySpace over to Facebook over to Instagram. Like I saw all these technological things happen in my lifetime. I saw literally going from when I was born, Super Mario on the Nintendo to freaking Grand Theft Auto 5. Like, bruh, the chasm is incredible. And that's 30 years. Now, if we look at the progress of AI, we're talking about 2023. We had the spaghetti video with Will Smith. It looked like a blurry mess and Will Smith's just eating spaghetti and it just looks crazy. And in 3 years, it now looks like Will Smith talking to a camera, eating spaghetti, sounding like Will Smith, looking like real spaghetti, looking like a real environment. 3 years. That's 10 times the speed it took to have all those innovations from cell phones to this to that. That's why AI is so powerful. And yes, we could try to act like we can stop AI. It's not stopping. And let me give you guys a concrete, logical reason why it's not stopping. You can't tell the big companies to stop AI. You can't shut down a data center and stop AI. You know why? It's because there is such thing as an open source community. There's always somebody who is trying to distill a bigger model. So for example, let's say ChatGPT, or excuse me, OpenAI comes out with I forget which number they're on, 5.6. Okay. Whatever the next ChatGPT is, somebody will ask it a ton of questions. Hey, what do you think about physics? What do you think about this math? And they'll store those answers. This is called distilling. Okay. They'll store those answers into their own stash and database. And basically they're taking this huge LLM that has answers for a lot of things. And they're saying, I'm going to ask it very specific things that people actually care about and distill it. So instead of this huge thing, like let's say this is like, 100 gigs worth of stuff, it might shrink it down to 1 gig. Okay. That's called distilling. And there's a system in an open source philosophy where they try to distill those big models into smaller models. And that's how you see all these open source models and DeepSeek and all this type of stuff catching up so fast. It's because they have a system to basically train off of other LLMs. And some LLMs and companies have been accused of doing this. So all I'm saying is it's never going to stop. There's always another country who wants to exceed in AI or excel in AI. So if America stops, it's I guess it's like the prisoner's dilemma in a way. It's like, hey, if this person rats, then I don't remember the prisoner's dilemma that well, so forgive me, guys. But let's say person A, okay, and then person B get caught for doing something, and they get split apart. Okay, now person A, if they rat on person B, they'll go away free. Okay, I forget the exact setting, so forgive me. It's been a long time since I studied this study. And if person B rats on person A, they go away free, and then person A has to deal with a longer sentence or something like this. Okay, or no, short. Okay, let's put it this way: person A, okay, person B, they get split up in the interrogation process. Person A, if they rat on person B, they'll walk away free. Person B gets locked down for 10 years. Okay, now the other scenario is person B is offered, hey, if they snitch on person A, they'll walk away free, and person A will be locked down for 10 years. However, there's a catch. If person A and person B rat on each other, they're both going to be locked down for 20 years. Okay, so that's called a prisoner's dilemma. And in short, this is the same kind of concept happening with these countries really, and AI. Is if the US stops focusing on AI, well, then China's not going to stop focusing on AI. And whoever has the world's greatest AI will basically be able to crack any banking system. We'll be able to influence any government. We'll be able to build weapons we've never seen before. So yes, it's in the USA's best interest to have the best AI, because we want to at least control, the playing board. We don't want the control to go to ideologies that we're not used to. Okay, now whether somebody says there's good behind that or bad behind that, I don't know. They're never going to show us everything they have planned. The point is, wouldn't you rather control the room than having, to answer to somebody else? So that has become the race. And if we slow down in the United States, I'm not saying what's right or what's wrong. I'm just saying what's obvious. If we slow down in the United States, then now we are basically giving up to the other person. Sorry, y'all, the landscapers are a little loud. So basically, I'll just put it this way. Us fighting AI is an unnecessary battle. We are wasting energy for absolutely no benefit. Okay, we could say, hey, Spotify, you need to ban all AI artists. What does that solve? There's still going to be a website somewhere that's competing with Spotify. We have to remember, guys, these are corporations. Their number one goal is to answer to shareholders, not the people who are putting stuff onto their platform. You don't own equity in the platform. You're sitting here fighting for a platform you don't own. Let's just start there. Secondly, think about Spotify. If I was Spotify, how do I keep the edge in the AI world? I could either create this thing where it's like humans only, okay, or I could say, let's capitalize on all these AI, music creators, because here's the caveat is if I don't capitalize on the AI music creators, a Suno can pop up, which already has 100 million active users. Spotify has 700 million active users. So if I let Suno build up and build up and build up and build up all this AI culture, and I don't, at least welcome the AI culture onto Spotify, now we have a system that we literally cannot control the flow. There's no distro kid that goes on the Suno. You upload to Suno, it goes straight out. There's no middleman in Suno. And that's the fundamental reason why I think Spotify finds Suno as competition, because Suno is basically building, in my opinion, a streaming competitor. It seems like they have so many active users. They have so much interest. It's not just about generating stuff. Sometimes it's about discovering music. If you guys go on Suno, they even have like a TikTok swipe system where you upload videos and it looks just like social media, and you swipe through, and all they do is basically say, hey, here's my Suno song. And artists love this because, again, it's introducing new artistry. It's introducing people who, didn't go to Berkeley for 8 years, and maybe because they couldn't or because they couldn't afford it or whatever. But now this is their foyer into music. I will never tell people to not want to create music. I think the arrogance and the selfishness of the music producer community and artist community tell people they can't use a tool to make music. Like, how arrogant do you think you are? When you first learned music, you didn't know anything about music. So should I say to this person, hey, you don't know anything about music, you don't deserve to learn music? Doesn't that sound crazy and ridiculous? Okay, so we could say that about any tool. FL Studio being easy, Ableton being easy, is literally drag and drop. It does the tempo for you. We could literally say that about any tool that we have on the market. So if I stopped everybody from using every tool, doesn't that make me just a selfish, greedy person because I'm not allowing other people to express their God-given talent? Well, who am I to tell God not to express to a person? Like, that is the arrogance that people have in this music producer and artist community. And I got to make a statement about it, because it doesn't matter if somebody prompted. It doesn't matter if somebody sampled. It doesn't matter if somebody typed in a prompt into Suno, downloaded it, flipped it, chopped it up a million times. It doesn't matter if I recorded my vocals memo into Suno, had it flip it into something different, and then download that and flip it. I don't care how we use Suno. It's somebody's doing, okay, creating something. Now, the attention economy, again, people are still in this attention economy, worried about, okay, well, if there's AI supplied, then that's going to take away from my supply. Did I cry when people were making AI videos on YouTube? Did I say, hey guys, YouTube needs to do X, Y, and Z because all these people are making AI videos and they're producing faster than me? No, I said, how do I become better as a business to create a moat so that I'm building around culture and not just information? We already passed the information era. We're already past the attention era. Okay, now we're moving into what's called the agentic era. And I really need to go back to that concept because I don't think people understand what I'm saying with the agentic thing. So I'll break that down in a little here. But listen, guys, fighting against AI does absolutely nothing. Spotify is going to welcome AI creators because, again, if they lose out to Suno, they lose their market share, and then they have to answer to the stockholders, and then they could potentially lose their share price. Okay, meaning that people won't invest into Spotify, which is their whole wealth. Okay, so of course they want their wealth to go up. And another thing about Spotify specifically is, let's say they clamp down on AI creations. Firstly, I've done a video where I've exposed AI music detectors. They're bullcrap. I've literally gone through and shown you guys how they're so unreliable. Okay. even using my plugin, the BusyWorks Beats AI Mastering plugin, I literally added that plugin over top of a Suno sample. It said AI generated. I added the plugin and exported back out, ran it back through the same AI music detector, and it said human made. So the fact that we can trick it with basic stuff like that just shows that we cannot rely on this system wide. So what does that mean? Let's just say, okay, the first scenario is Spotify allows AI music creators, which I think is their best option here. Second scenario is a slight clamp down, okay, which is like, okay, we have some system that can potentially weed out AI music. The problem with this is the systems fundamentally all the way down, when you break it all the way down, even to stem separation, you can't detect AI music accurately across the entire database of the world. You can't. I've proven it, okay? So there's an issue where, okay, they have the system that says, okay, stuff's AI detected and we're going to reject any AI detected stuff. What happens when you introduce your music, your human made stuff, and you put it up on Spotify and it just rejects it? Or you do the legal thing, which is to take some AI made music, transform it in a way that's human. Okay, now it's your own copyright and you upload it to Spotify. It says, oh, detect AI music, but it has nothing to do with the copyright system. And now there's a disconnect, okay? So the same thing, like for example, on YouTube, if you use somebody's music to teach, you know, you have certain guards with the government, but on YouTube, they own that system. So they may flag it, even though technically you're allowed to do it in America. It doesn't translate. So that is an issue for Spotify, because if they can't have a light kind of screening out methodology, then that means they have to go to the harsh side, which is, okay, now we're going to do human verification. Now I want everybody to upload their face data, their biometrics, which you consider privacy, right? Okay, now I need everybody to upload the eyeballs and show me you're human and do that thing where you rotate your head and go like this and do all that just to upload stuff to Spotify, which means now you can't have multiple, or they will allow you, I'm not sure, but you can't have multiple entities on Spotify. Now you're restricted to one entity. What if you're acting on behalf of somebody? What if you're a record label? How do you screen somebody else? How do you say, okay, this is me, but I'm uploading a feature? Does the feature now have to do the biometric thing? Like if I own a record label, does everybody have to do the biometric thing, or just the record label owner? And that's the issue I see with that harsh side over here. So Spotify's best option, in my opinion, is to simply allow AI music. Now, what does this cause? It causes the users on the platform, who you guys think you have so much power, but you don't. Without going into deep, because this is not about Spotify, I want to bring it back to AI. Look, guys, you were tricked to go on to Spotify. You don't even get paid the same as these record label artists do on Spotify. Okay, here's the system. They show you a celebrity like Future, for example. I'm just saying Future because he's just dope. They show you Future. Future drops a hard mixtape. He puts it on Spotify. You go, wow, that is a hard mixtape. I want to make a mixtape. And then you go out, you spend your money on DistroKid. You spend all these money, all this money just to copyright the thing, just to put it up on DistroKid, to pay yearly or whatever the fee is, just to be like Future. So then you put your stuff up on there, you get pennies per stream. And you're like, I spent like $1,200 on this whole mixtape. Beats, this is on the low end, $1,200 on the beats, on the mixing, on the distribution. Okay, just to find out that I'm making pennies on the back end. And then you're like, okay, another celebrity does it. Now you're like, oh man, I got to keep up, because now we're in the attention economy. So you feel like you have to be in the same place as these celebrities. So you do it again. And millions of people keep doing the same thing again and again and again. I think the Spotify stats show that the average song gets less than 1,000 plays. And it's not to say that we're doing something wrong. It's to show you that this is all a scheme to get you to sign up and bring your likeness, okay? I don't have time to explain the whole thing. Maybe I'll do a separate video. But basically, Future gets on a Spotify, attracts you. He's the magnet. You come onto the platform. You bring all of your fans, every single person. Okay. Now they have your data, your emails of your customers. They have the location of your customers, the name of your customers, because the only way I understood you can listen to Spotify music is if you sign up, or they give you a small preview. So now to even listen to stuff, they have to sign up. So did you get compensated for that person signing up with their email list? That actually has a value. Did you get compensated when they signed up for a paid subscription? No. But you paid to get your stuff on Spotify. You paid to distribute your stuff, and you paid to have all this product development just to find out that you're basically giving them your audience for free. That's the stupidness of putting your music on Spotify. Okay. In my opinion, if you're trying to monetize through Spotify only, understand that that is just an arm of a business. That is not the business. Okay. So long story short, all these people, millions of people bringing in their friends, 50 friends here, 50 friends here, 50 friends here. Spotify is just getting new users every day because of the small artists. Okay. Small artists are bringing in all these users, even the big artists. Yeah, of course. But you guys have to realize they get a different royalty rate than you guys do, from what I've heard and seen online. So long story short, let's bring it back to AI, because I don't want to make this a Spotify rant. The main thing I'm trying to say is Spotify's best option is to embrace AI, because their ultimate goal is to get more users, because that raises the perception of the stock price. Okay. They're not worried about the dilution of artists. The reality is that it doesn't matter if there's a million songs, billion songs in the world. Humans only have 24 hours to listen to stuff. And if everybody's song gets less than 1,000 plays per year, whatever the stat was, then putting more supply doesn't really do much of anything, because you still have to bring the attention for the supply. Nobody's going to just discover somebody with 0 plays. You have to bring your own audience first to prime the pump to get these platforms to work for you. And ultimately, that just means more ways for Spotify to grow, really not at your cost, because nobody's streaming this AI music just by default. They have to get traffic somewhere. Okay, everything comes back to traffic. Now let's pull it back to traffic. Speaking of traffic, the concept of AI search, again, I don't think people comprehend. So I could type in how to, make an FL Studio type beat, okay? And it used to pull up, video here, website here. Now it pulls up step 1, step 2, step 3, how to make a beat. In the new version of Google, it's not just the step 1, step 2. It might even include a little video clip, okay, of that specific thing that you're looking for. And it might, because now that YouTube has a system where when you upload, it basically transcribes all the audio. So every video in their database, they can look for a very specific sequence of words as the solution and find that very specific part of the video and put that very specific part of the video right into the search. So you don't even have to go through the entire video. Okay. That's just one piece of it. But like I said, when you guys understand Codex, when you understand Claude Code, all these agentic apps on your website, even Anti-Gravity has a new interface. Let me see if I could show you guys. I'm not sure what this interface has on the sidebar, so I might not be able to show everything here because I'm working on some projects. Yeah, no, never mind. Because I'm working on some projects. I just don't want competitors all in my business. But basically, if you look at the new Anti-Gravity interface, you'll see that it now looks like Codex. It looks like Claude Code. And when people type into these systems, okay, they say, okay, find me the top 10 best methods on how to make beats in FL Studio. You're not going to even go to the browser to search up a word. Your computer will literally do it on your behalf. Okay, that's called zero search economy. We went from information where everybody searched to the attention era where, yeah, there was still some search, but it was more about retaining people's attention in the algorithm using different hooks and different methods. Now we're in an era where we literally don't search. The agent searches for us. So now we're in an agent to agent type of economy. And we have to understand how it scrapes metadata and how it understands, .md files, for example. We have to understand how it understands JSON files and all types of ways that, these systems communicate. So what is GEO versus SEO? SEO is search engine optimization. That is when you would type in all these keywords and stuff your YouTube video. Okay, YouTube's like, okay, they're just gaming the system because this isn't even about what they're stuffing their video about. So now they have a system where it's generative, okay? Generative. So search engine optimization, now it's generative engine optimization. It sounds weird saying it that way. But now, like I said, when you type into Google, it gives them the answer, okay? So moving forward, AI search, I'm going to show you guys a couple more things here. But imagine a world where somebody typed in Bryson Tiller type beat, instead of going to your YouTube page, which everybody relies on the system, right? Micro niche your way through YouTube and send it to your BeatStars. I'm telling you guys, that is the outdated way of doing stuff, because moving forward, when you type in Bryson Tiller type beat into Google, what if it just generates the type beat right there? Because Google has something called Lyria 3 Pro, which sounds the most sonically rich I've heard of any AI music generator sound. Now, some people could say I'm an AI music shill. How's keeping you informed shilling? Like, keeping my people educated on the actual marketplace is shilling, where you guys are going to be knocked upside the head when the market changes and you're wondering what happened to your traffic. You're going to be wondering what happened to your entire business, why you can't sell your sound kits, why you can't sell your beats. You're going to be wondering how overnight you didn't prepare for the storm. I'm trying to keep people aware of their environment. Yes, we are changing. You cannot avoid AI just by saying, oh, I'm anti-AI. That doesn't make you avoid anything. If anything, you're building a counterculture of people who are just going to basically blind themselves from the innovation and the adaptive curve. You don't want to be in that pool. I'm telling you guys, you don't want to be there. I just warned you guys months ago, and 2 days ago, Google introduced the actual change. All it took was Google to say, switch on. Now we're here. Let me show you guys some of my tweets because I don't think people like understand. Okay, I've been talking about this for a while. I said the future of the music business will run by the agentic era. Search will be a thing of the past. We just saw this 2 days ago, you guys. Okay, I said this May 15th and Google did it on May 19th. I tried to warn you. But a lot of people are just not listening to what I'm saying for whatever reason. I wrote this on May 15th. Google dropped the update May 19th. Okay. So it says the future of the music business will run by the agentic era. Search will be a thing of the past. Imagine your AI agent auto playing a drill song because it knows you're at the gym as your heart rate increases. I forgot to mention this. So AirPods, they can actually measure your heart rate and do different things like that health wise. So imagine when they understand your path because they have geolocation on their AirPods, they can tell where you are. You can do locate my AirPods, locate my laptop. Well, they can locate you and they can see your pattern. Okay, so let's say they see you walk into the gym every single day at 3 p.m. All right, well, then they know you're getting ready for the gym. And they know when you raise your heart rate, that's when you start working out. So they say, okay, we're going to autoplay the song he plays right at this time every single day automatically through Spotify or whatever app they use to autoplay, Apple Music. And it's going to autoplay without you even typing anything into your phone. It's going to know exactly what you want to do at the exact time based on your probabilities of all these micro actions. That's where we're moving, people. And I don't think people understand. There's not going to be a thing as search anymore. It's literally going to be, the algorithm is so accurate at what you want to see. Search will be almost an archaic event. Okay, so because this is deeper intent. Search used to, what's the word here? Search used to mirror intent, but it wasn't always somebody's intent. Now they've gotten even to the subconscious level of intent, where we're looking at your habits, your patterns. We're not just looking at what you consciously say because you don't man, this goes into so much depth. I didn't realize this, guys, but I did a video about how to find a wife, which the whole video was about mastering the subconscious mind. So what I'm saying to you guys is we think we live in a conscious reality. 95% of your day is controlled by your unconscious mind, period. You think you're conscious right now. You're being controlled by something. You're not controlling your lung movement right now, your leg tendon movement. You're not controlling any of that. Your whole body is basically working without you, okay, autonomously. So here's my point. I'm not trying to scare you guys to death. I just want you guys to truly understand what I'm saying. Listen, guys, intent has now been solved on a meta level, okay? So search, the traditional search was on a cognitive aware level. What we thought we were aware, but we really weren't. We were driven by subconscious motivations. So now we take this layer and we say, okay, there's a foundational layer underneath that layer. That's what Google is mastering right now, the subconscious layer. Literally, it's almost like mind reading. Okay, now when Neuralink comes out, this is really going to be mind reading. They're going to be doing stuff on your behalf without you, the speed of thought. And that's what we can't comprehend because we just are so settled into our traditional ways. So that's where we're headed, in my opinion, is literally your brain will think something and something will instantly happen. That's what Neuralink, in my opinion, is all about, to a degree. So that is AI search, but let's go back to the screen because I want to keep showing you guys. I tried to warn you. Okay, branding equals existence within the AI training data. Interviews and story building become more important than ever before. The music industry will be running by programmatic curation, so trusted sources like record labels or playlists like Pigeons and Planes will become the auto accept button for the AI results because they don't have time to curate. If you guys understand that, like, oh man, there's so much to talk about here. You guys got a lot of AI tools for free because you are the curation layer. Okay, they don't want to have to pay you for the curation layer. We talked about this with the BeatStars thing. You're basically curating the music for the BeatStars thing for free. Okay, so we talked about that. So again, we don't have time to go through everything about everything here. So just understand that humans are curating the AI. So if AI creates slop, it uses humans to say what's not slop so that it crystallizes its quality, and it keeps doing that over and over and over until it gets super sharp to where nobody considers anything slop. This means the authority-driven playlist will skyrocket in value, which is why culture is a great moat to, surround your business, because culture is the thing, the glue that keeps humans connected. And humans connecting is the whole definition of commerce. Commerce means social intercourse, not interchange, not interaction. It says social intercourse. So in order to intercourse with socially, you got to be around somebody, proximity, right? So this is what we're talking about in business. This means authority-driven playlists will skyrocket in value, making it harder for unknown artists without a budget. We all know the record labels are based on payola. I was on Clubhouse. They said, how much does it cost to get a hit record? 150K on the low side. They said it straight out. We're talking about radio personalities, because that's how this stuff works. You guys it's not a fantasy of earning your way to the top. It's a pay to play type of game, because you have to scale. Personalized AI remixes of albums. That's why TikTok was such a threat. Personalized AI remixes of albums. So this is a whole new business model, because now Justin Timberlake might drop an album, but then he'll put it on an AI platform or have some utility on Spotify that has remixing. So now he'll drop his album, and now a customer says, I want him to say Sarah when he's saying whatever person's name. So now they'll say Sarah. So now it's customized specifically to her. Okay. And that's the world we're moving into. And that's the world we can't comprehend, because we're so used to dropping an album and it never changes. Who created the model where albums never change? Kanye broke the mold. He said, I'm going to drop an album and I'm going to change the song called Wolves, and I'm going to change another song. Who said albums had to be this drop it once, never change thing? When you go live for years and years and years, you perform your song differently every single time. So who says we have to say that people have to cement their idea and never change it over time? All right, so that's what I'm saying. We're just fighting an archaic belief system. And I'll be short, guys, because this is a lot to read. But basically, you guys can just go to my Twitter and read more. I showed you guys how, and was it 2 years? 2 years. Let me just read this. In 2 years, Google converted over 60% of searches into AI-driven results. Google processes roughly 8.5 billion searches a day. And I said, do the math. That is 2 trillion searches. 2 trillion searches converted in 2 years. That's 60% of the market. There's only 40% left. 35% if you get accurate right here. So they've flipped that final switch. And I told you guys, I tried to warn you guys, this is what day is this? April 26th. Okay. Now here's another video. I said this is going to be the new rentable background dancers at venues. It's a robot that's doing dance moves on a stage. Now it does fumble. Oh, no, let me turn the music off. Now it does fumble, but look what it's doing. It's moonwalking or whatever it's doing. Side skipping, whatever it's doing. Now imagine an artist, let's imagine a venue owned by a company like Live Nation or Rock Nation or whoever owns the venue. I'm not sure who actually owns these venues out here, but let's just say tightly knit is Live Nation with the actual venue. Okay, the venue says, hey, artist, you can either risk people not showing up to the job and try to put together your own event, which is going to cost you X, Y, and Z dollars, or you could just use our own pre-built system. We have the PA system, we have the background dancers, we have the light system guy, we have the audio engineers, everybody you need for an additional $1 million. And they're going to say, okay, instead of me risking $2 million on these people that I don't even know and all these random variables, I'm just going to go with the pre-existing package from the venue. That's what's going to happen. This is already happening, and it looks like some kind of country across the seas. I'm telling you guys. So as much as we want to fight AI, it does nothing. AI and robotics are accelerating too fast for us to actually fight. There's nothing to fight. If you're letting people convince you that AI is evil, data centers are evil, that LLMs are evil, that all these companies trained off of other stuff, welcome to reality, people. That's how reality works. You want to know how nature works outside of technology? There's something called the Red Queen theory. And let me look up the definition here. Hold up. All right, so here's the definition. We studied this in university level. The Red Queen theory, or considered the Red Queen hypothesis, is an evolutionary concept proposing that species must constantly adapt, evolve, and proliferate, not to gain an advantage, meaning to get ahead of somebody, but simply to survive while competing against ever-evolving opposing organisms. In other words, when I talked about the US versus China in this AI race, they have to keep going. Because if they don't, they're going to cease to exist, because they're going to have to succumb to somebody else's power. Nobody wants that. Okay. It's like having to call another man your daddy. Like, what the heck? Like, I run my own business. I don't answer to any man. I answer to God, period. And we're always going to keep it that way. So here's my point. The Red Queen theory. Let me see if I can find like some specific examples here. Hold on, guys. All right. So I know it's getting a little biological, but we studied this on a university level. I want you guys to see that this is a natural, God created system. Why are you trying to fight God? Okay, I don't understand why people are trying to fight God. You're trying to fight nature. Why? That nature will always win. It's the intent of the universe is nature. You can't beat the intention, the reason why you're even here. Stop trying to do it. Okay. So you guys don't understand that, like, look, this is the world. You got to accept the world. I think so many people are driven into a fantasy land by so many bad actors and people who just want to pat you on the back and say, it's okay, you didn't win. You have to win. There's no other solution but to win. Okay. Here's the nest egg arms race, for example. It says the initial adaptation, the host. To stop the parasite from tricking them, host birds evolve highly specific egg patterns and colors to easily identify and reject foreign eggs. Because what competitors will do is they'll put their egg into a competitor's basket so they don't have to risk their own resources and energy to keep nurturing the egg. So they'll have their ops raise their own egg. And then when the egg becomes an adult, they just take the child back just like that. It's crazy. Nature is crazy. When you really look at it, it is absolutely more chaotic than you guys think. The parasite's counter adaptation, the cowbird. In response, the cowbird evolves to mimic the exact size, color, and speckling of the host's egg. Okay, because they're trying to leech off of the host because they say the host has nest resources. I can get deep into this, guys, but there's a lot to teach. Let's put it this way. Let's say birds are migrating to an island, for example. I got to be sure because this video is 40 minutes. Holy crap. All right. So let's say birds are migrating to an island. Okay. The first bird that gets there has access to every nest building thing that's there. Okay. So the first male gets there. He has access to all the nest materials. He makes the mansion of bird nests. All right. Now man number 2 comes in, he lands and he has the scraps, but he builds a nice middle-sized home. So he has a cool home, but it's not the coolest bird nest on the island. Now bird male number 3 comes and he's left with absolute scraps. I mean, he has to piece together threads and just, twigs to put together his little bird nest. Now here come the women, the female birds. They come, they fly in, and this is their time to mate because they have to proliferate to continue their genes, their survival. So they mate with the males, but who do the females mate with? The female birds mate with. The first female bird comes in, she mates with the guy with the mansion. The second bird comes in, and this is called pair bonding. Second female bird comes in, she mates with the guy with the middle house. Third bird comes in, she settles for the guy with the small nest. Now the fourth female bird comes in. Who does she mate with, if anybody? She mates with the guy with the mansion, even though he already has a pair bond. This is the stuff that you guys cannot comprehend because you just haven't studied biology. And I don't blame anybody because who's going to sit there and study birds? But this is the reality of genetics and how we're driven on a subconscious level. This is the intent of the universe. The universe was coded for us to act this way. And you guys are trying to fight against it. It seems stupid, doesn't it? All right. So anyway, my point is the reason these birds are doing these mechanisms is because they may be that third bird who didn't have the huge mansion. So he says, I'm going to leverage the guy with the mansion because he has all the resources. I'm going to have him take care of my bird kid and I'll just benefit, by mating all the female birds, but not having to deal with the actual raising part. So it's called a leech. Okay. They call it a parasite in this case. Okay. So in response, the cowbird evolves to mimic the exact size, color, and speckling of the host's birds. The escalation. To counter this mimicry, the host bird must rapidly evolve the ability to detect increasingly subtle visual differences in its nest egg clutch. The constant running. Neither species can stop running. If the host stops evolving better recognition, its nest is overrun by parasites. If the parasite stops evolving better mimicry, its eggs are rejected by the host, leading to extinction of its genetics. This is just one example. We didn't even talk about where birds literally will take out other birds' eggs and kill them based on different patterns. It is so complex, you guys. If I had time to explain it, I would, but I don't. The main thing here, guys, is look, we think we can stop AI. We're not. It doesn't mean, become an AI enthusiast and just make AI seem like the best thing since sliced cake. It's just stop opposing it. What are you winning by opposing AI? Nothing. You may think you're galvanizing an audience doing that right now, but it's doing nothing. You're just falling behind and further behind and further behind. I'm telling you guys, I warned you. Here's my point. If you guys need more proof than this, I don't know what else to tell you. Okay. May 15th, I told you guys how search is about to be extinct. May 19th, it happened. Okay. April 26th, I told you guys how converting the Google traffic is basically going to shift everything about our business. May 19th, it happened. Okay. So I don't know how much proof you guys need from this point on. Listen, you can't fight facts. I just gave you guys facts. What I want you guys to do from this point on is just allow yourself to learn about AI. I'm not even telling you to download anything. Just allow yourself to stop demonizing it. There are so many talking heads out here demonizing AI just because they're thinking about themselves, their own survival. They're trying to create a way to create a contrast between AI and their stuff, but it's doing nothing but keeping everybody else held back. There's too much innovation here. There's too much opportunity here for us to keep sleeping as a creative community. This video is super long. If you got motivated, if you guys found a gem in here, if you resonate with this message, share it with a friend, because we really need to wake people up in this music community. I benefit nothing from telling you guys this. I guess the only thing I would benefit is you guys subscribing to the YouTube channel. Please like the video, please share. I bet you there's gonna be people disliking the video just because it's talking about AI. It's like, bruh, wake up. I can't have you guys sleep anymore. It's gonna be your doom if you sleep. All right, y'all. Subscribe if you're new. Peace.